In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the stationery in the Amazon Basics range, and I'm going to share my thoughts on how I think it compares to some more well-known stationery that is quite similar. So why the Amazon Basics? Well, I've seen these on the US Amazon site for quite some time, and they seem to have good reviews. And then when they finally came to the Amazon Australia website, I was like, well, I want to try these out. So I did wait until they were half price, and then they were super cheap. I'll put all the pricing down below, but for me, it's Australian pricing, so it probably won't mean much if you're in another country. So I'll put that in the blog post if you're interested. You can have a more detailed look there. So I brought the felt tip pens, and then I also got the erasable highlighters. So they came in these cardboard boxes, which are not very pretty, but hey, at least you can recycle it if you don't want to keep them. Otherwise, the cardboard's quite sturdy actually, so you could store them in it if you wanted to. But at least it's better than plastic packaging, which just gets thrown in the bin anyway. So I got the fine liner pens, and I'm quite happy with this color range. So it's got all the colors that you would need. I don't really like the yellow, which I'll show you in the swatches later on, but I don't like yellow anyway. I swatched like my whole yellow pen collection a few years ago, and there was maybe like 2 or 3 pens out of that I would actually use because yellow is just so hard to read after you've written. So we'll see how this one compares. And then you've got other usual colors. There's even like a minty aqua color, which I thought was quite nice because normally you wouldn't have that in the pack. And then the other comment I would make is I looked at this one and thought, okay, this will be a nice, darker, I don't know if it's mauve, burgundy, whatever color you'd call it. But when I swatched it, it was actually more like a purple. So this one was not true to the color of the actual pen, but the rest of them I would say they were. So let's have a look at those swatches. So that's the one I was just holding where I said it looked more purple. So that one was not really matching the pen color, but the rest looked pretty good. I did call that one aqua, but you could probably say it's more mint, but whatever. You get the idea. They wrote really smoothly. You can see that there was no ink skipping at all. They were really easy to write with. I really quite liked writing with them. To me, they were comparable to the Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liner. I really love those pens. So if you like those ones, but you don't want to spend as much money, then these Amazon Basics ones would be quite good. Now, I have only just brought them and I've only just swatched them. So I can't tell you how long the pen ink will last. I'll have to update the blog post after a year or two. I've tried to get in the habit of updating that and I did do a whole post where I said like which pens had still lasted like 5 years later. So we'll have the link to that one down below. But for now, it's just my first impressions. If you want to have a look at what the pen tip looks like, it's like that with just the felt tip on the end. And if I can just get this back on one-handed while I'm filming, I'll just show you the back side of the page. So you can see there is quite a bit of ghosting for these. This is a plum paper notebook. So yeah, quite a bit of show through there. I think if you use these with a thicker paper, like a 160 GSM, it would not show through. But the plum paper is quite small, thin. I think it's only 70 lb. So yeah, not the greatest result for that pen test with ghosting. But I do love the colors. They're really nice. And I think the sun just came out, so you should get a better view of the colors now. Now for the Basics erasable highlighters. So I'm not really a fan of this color collection. I think it's a bit weird, actually. I don't know why they would pair these colors together. And the one that's really irritating the most is this yellow, because it's so neon, but the others are these nice muted tones, and it's just like, what were they thinking? This does not fit with the overall, color scheme. Also, this bottom one here is quite similar to the top, so I would have just included one. If anything, they could have just done a pack like that with just those 4, or they could have added in, like an orange or a different color, but yeah, I'm really not loving these colors. Normally, I try and create my planner spreads with a whole, collection, because usually the colors are already prepared together for you, so it makes it quite easy. But this one, I would not. I would just exclusively use maybe like this one or just these 2. I wouldn't use the whole range because I don't think it's very cohesive at all. Now, this one was my bad. So I thought it was a pack of 12, but I did not look at the listing right. It's actually just a pack of 6 different colors, and you get 2 highlighters of each. So, 2 purple, etc. So just factor that in if you are considering getting it, and if you're looking at pricing and pairing against other brands. Now, the other thing to point out, these are erasable highlighters, but they're not like the Pilot Friction, where you erase by heat. So these ones have a white tip, on the other end, like that. And that's the end that you highlight with. So after you do your highlighting, I'm just switching this over to my other hand, you can then erase whatever you need to erase. So it's pretty cool. It's like a magic marker. And it doesn't matter what color you erase. So you can see this is the purple one, but I've just erased the pinks. So it is quite cool from that perspective. I think kids would love this. I remember Smiggle used to have these, which I went crazy for years and years ago. So if you like that style of erasable highlighter, then these could be a good option if you just need a few colors. But yeah, overall, not really impressed with the pairings. In terms of ghosting, you can see that it was quite bad. Again, I know plum paper is popular and I do love all of their layouts and customization options, but I really wish that they had better paper. But in having said that, most planners have this type of paper and this thickness, so this is why I always swatch in the plum paper notebooks, because I feel like it gives the most realistic perspective of what it will probably look like if you use it in your own notebook. If I did swatch everything in a 160 GSM, which is really thick paper, then there'd probably be pretty much no show through for most brands, which is not really a true swatch test. So anyway, you can see there is quite a bit of show through on that one. So my final thoughts, I'm not really a fan of the erasable highlighters. I think I could do without them. I've got other erasable highlighters like that. I don't think that's a rush out and must buy. And now the sun has just moved again, sorry. So then we have the Basics felt tip though, which I do recommend. So I would buy these again if they do run out of ink, because I really liked how they wrote, but I hope that they last a few years so I don't need to buy them super frequently. But I'll have to put an update in the blog post, which will be linked down below associated with this video with an update, or you can always comment whenever you're watching this to prompt me to do that as well. So recommend, don't recommend.